recorded live.
Welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Stephen. I'm going to be hosting the call tonight. As I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to speak on a couple subjects since Mike B. is kind of taking a sabbatical from this for a while. He's really burnt out. He's been doing this for quite a few months, and actually before that I know he had a radio show, so he's just wanting to take some time with family and friends. Dave has been hosting some other times, but he's traveling, so they asked me to host the call, which I'm happy to do. And I'm just going to repeat that if you would like to get a unique username so that when you do have questions, it's just much easier to, rather than saying if there's two people in Illinois or California, you can go to TalkShoe.com, sign up, pick a unique username, pick your own password, and then, as I said earlier, you pick your PIN, or you can use your phone number, and then when you dial in, it automatically recognizes you. When we're ready to take questions, you hit *8. Matthew, who is helping me with, as he so awesomely does with administrating this, then he will bring you out to ask any questions, or if you have anything that you want to share, and we'll go from there. We always do a disclaimer. The show, this conference call is private, and usually it's by invitation only. But we do like to say that the reason we're assembling together is out of love and networking, and that's the whole idea that we're doing this. Freely given, freely shared. And if there is anybody from any of the alphabet agencies, we're glad to have you here, because the whole idea of this is we're all in this together, and there's so many people that are going through financial struggles. You may too be losing your house someday, or et cetera, not being able to pay your credit cards, or whatever. It's happening nationwide, worldwide. Well, one of the subjects, the interesting thing that I was thinking, what am I going to speak about tonight? And I came across an article that I think is more than appropriate, since this show is, if I call it a show, well, the conference call is about the Matrix. You know, the red pill, blue pill, and the host listed is Neil Morpheus. So I'm going to read you a very short article that I received. It's entitled "How to Escape the Matrix." And the Matrix, this was written by Edwin Spina, S-P-I-N-A. And he's a creator of Energy Center Cleaning, whatever that is. Matrix was one of the most popular and thought-provoking movies of all time. Viewers of all over the world were captivated by the film's primary message, and that was people get into deep trouble when they make the mistake what they perceive for reality. What most viewers do not realize is that prior to the release of this groundbreaking film, Western intelligence agencies were already using the term the Matrix to describe today's world. This was in contrast to their work with remote viewers. If you need to check that out, that's a pretty interesting subject, who would escape the Matrix to gather intelligence. Art truly does imitate life. In the movie, The Matrix is an elaborate artificial intelligence computer simulation that's so captivating that people mistake it for reality. People perceive they are walking about and interacting with others, but their physical bodies are actually submerged in fluid-filled pods plugged into the Matrix, while their vital life force is harnessed to power the Matrix. Well, after Neo learns the truth with the help of Morpheus's training, he's able to overcome his misconception that the Matrix is reality. Neo rebels against the machines that create his false reality, and eventually he escapes the limitations of the Matrix. To others, he has developed superhuman abilities, but in reality, he has merely recognized the truth. Well, escaping the matrix is a metaphor for the mystical path to enlightenment. The matrix can be defined as a world that we perceive, which includes the physical world, as well as higher planes of emotions and thoughts, which also affect us. Within the matrix are countless fear-based thoughts and emotions that condition us to accept limitations. We are taught that we have little power, and what little power we do have, we are advised to delegate to authority figures and experts. Swimming in a sea of negative thoughts, we are prompted to use our creative ability to imagine even more negative thoughts. Without introspection, the matrix gets darker and more dense. Anyone who blindly accepts this prevalent negative thoughts will have his or her life path dictated by the matrix. But those who recognize that it is our collective thoughts and beliefs that power the matrix will recognize the way out. When we incarnate on earth, we temporarily forget the higher truth of who we really are. Our life's mission is to remember to connect with our innermost self so that we may transcend the matrix. The reality we perceive with our senses is not the true reality, but a small portion of reality, masquerading as the whole. But unlike the alternate reality that Neo must extricate himself from in our reality, there is no need to rebel. Rather, our goal should be to transcend. We want to be in this world, but not of it. The outer world is a reflection of our inner thoughts and beliefs, whether individual or collective, which have been conditioned by our experience in this matrix. Consequently, the matrix is a learning environment where we get feedback on how our thoughts manifest. Thankfully, our negative thoughts do not typically manifest instantly. Otherwise, we'd risk the spontaneous destruction of our world by thinking negative thoughts. Well, cleaning yourself of these negative energies can provide a direct link to the ultimate reality, the pure consciousness residing within each of us. As your negative beliefs are purified through regular contact with the light of your divine nature, unhealthy emotions such as fear and anger, which naturally begin to diminish, and you'll be free to transcend to higher states of consciousness. You will download more of your own true self while simultaneously and automatically attracting others of similar vibration. Your world will become more synchronistic. You will repel angry, fearful people, and those who stick around will become calmer and more centered. You will radiate love. By simply being in higher consciousness, you will have a greater effect on the world than the most gifted orders and political leaders. The higher your consciousness and energy are vibrating, the faster your thoughts will manifest. When you align with your innermost self, you are aligned more closely with the source of all creation. At the apex of your individual consciousness, you are connected with the One. You then have at your disposal the entire universe to help you manifest the highest good for all. And I just wanted to share that, folks, with you, because it is indeed a powerful article, and we are in this matrix. And one of the things that I wanted to share is this whole idea of the sovereign status. Everybody's talking about, hey, I'm sovereign. Well, if you don't have a pen by you, I'd encourage you to grab one, because I'm going to share some websites here in a little bit that you're going to maybe want to check out. And as I referenced in that little article, it's important to know who you are and who you're not. And in essence, we are consciousness. We are eternal energy beings, and we right now we're experiencing what I would call a growth experience of life lessons. I call it a gel moment. So anybody searching for this whole sovereign status must recognize that the cost of freedom is responsibility. Pure enough. If you don't take responsibility for your own actions and want to live independent of the confines, then you need to be a slave servant. That's basically what so many people want to do. Is they want to live on both sides of the fence. They want to have all the benefits. They want to have all the privileges, but they only want to call themselves a sovereign. It doesn't work that way. I heard a gentleman reference two words that I connected together: freedom and kingdom. Notice both of them have the word the letters D-O-M at the end. Free, dumb, and kingdom. Well, dumb kind of resonates from the dome, which is our mindset. So freedom is a mindset. To be free is a mindset. Same thing with king, which is equivalent to sovereign, is a mindset. And I often hear people saying, who say they're sovereigns, you're infringing on my rights. Well, could you ever imagine the Queen of England stating, oh, they're infringing on my rights? No way. No way would you ever hear a true sovereign talking about rights, privileges, and benefits. Because then you create those. You create those by your own actions and your own responsibility. I'm going to quote from Chisholm versus Georgia. This is a U.S. Supreme Court case. This speaks right volumes about sovereignty, and to my next subject, the Constitution. Chisholm versus Georgia, it says, to the Constitution of the United States, the term sovereign is totally unknown. There is but one place where it could have been used with propriety. But even in that place, it would not, perhaps, have comported with the delicacy of those who ordained and established that Constitution. They might have announced themselves sovereign people of the United States, but serenely, conscious of that fact, they avoided the ostentatious declaration. So what that's saying is the Constitution doesn't recognize a sovereign. Let me repeat. The Constitution of the United States, the term sovereign is totally unknown. Now let me tell you why that is. The Constitution is only applicable to debtors. The debtors, the all cap, the fiction. And we are creditors. Period. We are the creditors. We're the ones that create the credit, etc. Here's where I wanted you to grab your pen. If you would care to check out several articles there on the web, I don't have the web addresses, but you go and do a search engine. There's a gentleman by the name of Frederick Mann with two N's, M-A-N-N. He wrote an article entitled The Constitution Delusion. And then there's another gentleman who wrote a book. And so I got it off the internet in PDF form. No Treason: The Constitution of No Authority. And the reason I bring these up is simply, like it's talked about, the Constitution applies to the debtor. And most people quote the Constitution as having all this power and everything. There's some excellent points in the Constitution. Absolutely. You know, the power to contract, the power to free speech. Notice I'm not saying right. I'm not saying the right to. I'm saying the power. And then let's look closer at the Constitution, and it says, we the people of the United States. It doesn't say the people of the United States of America, small u. It doesn't say of America. But it says, we the people, and the word people is capitalized with a capital P. Well, this is some research that I found. Well, when you look at a word that's capitalized, that's a captonym, which is a word that changes its meaning and sometimes pronunciation when it is capitalized, and usually applies to a capitalization due to proper nouns or eponyms. I think I pronounced that right. So in other words, when they use the word people and posterity and all those words are capitalized, they're talking about a particular group of people, the people who actually signed that document and their posterity. So it's very interesting. So check out those articles. I'm going to end on that about the Constitution. Here are some other excellent websites that you should really strongly consider checking out. One is, of course, these are all www, but Project Camelot, like camel and lot, camelot.org. This is a website that has tons of whistleblowers that have come forward, and Bill and Carrie are the facilitators of this website. They interview them. And the most recent interview on there is David Icke. I don't think too many people on this call don't know who David Icke is, and I would strongly recommend that you take the almost 2-hour interview. But he nails it. He talks about several things I mentioned earlier about consciousness and the matrix and whatnot. So that's an excellent interview. I would highly suggest that you spend the time watching. Another one that came into my inbox recently, and it is excellent for people that need to learn about the straw man or the all-cap fiction. And believe me, anytime I watch a video, whether I know it or I don't, I always seem to pick up 1 or 2 good key points. And this one, put in the search engine, John Harris. It's an illusion. John Harris, it's an illusion. This is an English gentleman, and it still applies to every one of us in America because guess what, folks? We're still under the crown. Not the crown of the Queen, but the crown in the City of London. And that's who's running this show, is the bankers. Dave and I were speaking about, he's traveling, and I mentioned to him selectee status, and that's like the word select, like you're going to select something off the shelf, but with 2 E's, so selectee status. Let me tell you a quick story about my experience with that. I've never done it myself, but I was at an airport waiting for a relative to get off a plane. There was a lady who was fumbling through her purse frantically, couldn't find her DL, her driver's license. I said, ma'am, I see that you're not able to find any ID. And she's like, no, I think I left it at home. I said, well, do you want to get on that plane today? And she said, yes. I said, well, if you listen very carefully what I'm about to tell you, you will get on that plane and you don't have to worry. I said, walk up to that gentleman, that TSA agent, tell him that you don't have your government ID and that you'd like to go on as selectee status. Sure enough, she collected herself, walked up to that agent, I shared with her, and went through. Now, all that means is that you are selecting to not present an ID, photo ID or whatever, and you're giving them permission to wand you down or to search you more extensively. And that's it. So they say you have to have a government ID to travel. I just told you how you don't have to do that. And this was post 9/11.
What does that mean, selectee status?
It's you're selecting to have them do a more thorough search of your I don't like the word person, but you're allowing them to wand you down and make sure that you're not a security risk.
So that's their code name for going
through
without an ID?
Yeah, it's their phraseology.
Okay, selectee status.
Yeah, selectee, like EE. at the end. Speaking of
T-E-E?
Select, the word select, and then E-E, like Edward.
Oh, select E status.
Yes, select E.
Okay, I thought it was a letter T as in tango, but it's
no.
select and then
select
double E.
And then two E's at the end, like Edward.
EE status. Okay, I gotcha.
Here's one other thing I'd like to mention about the driver's license. If I understand a lot of people, want to have, and they don't want to go through the hassle of not having a driver's license. And this is what I would recommend, so that if you want to move closer and closer out of the confines of that contract, go and tell them that you lost your driver's license and say that you would like to redo it. I know it's going to cost some money, but there's also a cost of freedom. When you get to the point of putting your signature on there, put on the signature, and they might give you some grief about this, but here's what I would recommend. Either sign your entire name, upper and lowercase, like you would always do, but do your entire name, full name, and put the word by in front of it, and then try to sneak in the word under duress. Some of those people will catch that, and they will not let you do it. You could also write the word authorized representative, because the name on that, as we all know, is in all cap. That's not you. And if they still give you resistance, I would say, well, this name on this ID is a misnomer. MISNOMER, misnomer. You can look it up in any law dictionary. And you're not spelling my name properly. So, you're going to have to allow me to sign how I sign. And if I were doing this, I don't have a DL. But if I were ever compelled to do that again, I would probably just put by and then put Stephen, and then try writing either under duress or authorized representative. So that's just a tip to help you step outside the box a little bit further. I just wrote down a couple more things. Speaking of that whole deal as far as sovereignty, and we are constantly being labeled, and this is what's going on, is that the car, or the automobile, as I prefer to call it, has a flag on it. The plate is really a flag for the state. If you're out in the international waters, you're required to have a flag on your boat. When you're traveling, they want to label you with your nationality. I would prefer to just be called an Earthonian or Earthling, because I resonate with people all over this earth. I don't consider myself to be just an American. In fact, I don't want to even give myself that label. That's just me. I've traveled all over the world, and once you've done that, your eyes open a little bit more. But I guess I'm sharing this with you because we're being pigeonholed. They want us to have, every vessel must have a flag, and that's, again, for control. And this entire matrix is built on fear. So if we were the elite and we were going to put together this fear-based society, what 4 things do you think you'd have to use to control people? Certainly their monetary system, because we all have certainly heard, or maybe have heard, the quote by one of the Rothschild family: "I care not what a country's laws are as long as they control the monetary system." That is an actual quote from one of the Rothschild family. So monetary system, control the media, you control the government and its leaders, and you control the world religions, and you have pretty much controlled the whole enchilada. Now you can resonate fear, you can manipulate, and as I said earlier, this world this matrix is built on. I would say it's like a world of threes. Look at all the indicators. You have the 72-hour rescission. You have a 3-step administrative process, your presentment, your notice of opportunity to cure, and your notice of default, along with the notice of non-response. So that's a 3. We're in 3D. We're in the third density. Even look so far as the OID form. It's got three places to, there's 3 forms on that OID. So it's an interesting. Nothing is done by accident, that's for sure. And in conclusion, I just want to mention one more website that I love to. Actually, 2 more websites. I am actually the administrator and I call it co-creator of this website that you can go on the blog and read other articles that I've written. It's wave1111.com. It's WAVE 1111.com, and it is a MySpace, but I bought the domain, and there's quite a few blog articles there. And if you love to do a lot of research like I do, on the entire left side of the page there are tons of website links that you can copy and then paste into your browser. One of them, which I love very much, is called Wingmakers, and he talks about the sovereign integral. So that's one of the last things I wanted to bring up. One other quick thing as far as how to handle yourself is going back to these 3s. There's really 3 ways to handle ourself in comments. You can either say to these people, prove up, where's your contract? Stand in your truth as a man or woman, that this is the abatement process. You're not the person. You're not the legal entity. You can only deal with form. I'm substance. I'm real. That's one. You can accept for value and do the 1099 process and discharge it, set it off. What's the other option? To go in their system, go in their courts, and roll the dice, and hope that you know enough about loopholes and all the different things that you can throw at them to make them go away. So there you go, three things. Again, another 3. This whole world is built on the what I call to flow in this universe, to really flow well in this universe. It's attraction, it's intention, it's allowance, and it's balance. If we learn that life lesson of attraction, intention, allowance, and balance, and follow the golden rule of doing unto others as we went done unto them, we wouldn't be on these calls, folks. So I appreciate your time. It's already been a half hour. I wanted to limit that to a half hour, and let's open it to calls or questions. I also wanted to mention that in any type of process, you always, always, always should use a notary, because if you're not using a notary when you're out in the commerce world, you're not able to verify and substantiate what you presented. And that's what a notary is. A notary is a disinterested third party. I spent the better part of a year doing administrative process for, we did 172 remedies. I did personally. I had whiteboards all in my office, worked 7 days a week. It was nuts. But everything was presented by notary, under notary seal. And I spoke to a wonderful guy on the phone the other day, and if he's on the call, Wes and Tina and Jimmy, all are notaries, and they have anything they would like to add to that, I would welcome them to share their experiences with the power of a notary, etc. But let's open the. If you have a question or you have any comments that you'd like to share at this time, this is our call. It's not my call. I just had some things that I wanted to share with you that were kind of burning on my heart. And please share this link with friends so they can too hear. The link again is talkshoe.com/TC/41875. And you can share all of our calls by our recorded calls by sharing that link. So again, Matt, are there anybody that wants to hit star 8 that wants to come out and say something?
Hey everybody, if you want to ask a question, hit star 8 on your phone. It'll show up on my screen here, and I'll go ahead and unmute you in order that you hit star 8. Okay, we got our first one here in Oregon, and then Washington, D.C. Okay, Oregon, you are unmuted.
Okay, that Oregon, that's got to be me. Okay, thank you for your time.
Yep.
I got hopefully an easy question for you, but it's very important for me, and it involves the PSQ. I recently received 2 letters from 2 different IRS offices, and the whole background is not what's important here. It's that I want to PSQ them, but on neither one of those did they give any names. Okay, there's no names, and I have been spending a lot of time researching the offices, trying to find contact somebody's name. I've made numerous calls. I've even called local tax people just to see if they would know who the I'm not sure if they're directors or commissioners. And I'm not really. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me ask just what is the issue? Is it a tax related issue or is it an OID issue?
It's a tax related issue.
Okay, so back taxes.
Back taxes, yes.
Okay.
You need to know more, I can give you more, but it's kind of lengthy.
No. Here's a simple solution to this. I don't know. Have you been on the calls before?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get the templates that all about the PSQ? Did you see that you really should use a notary to send that out? And if you don't have a notary, that's why I wanted Wes and Tina and Jimmy to come forward.
Oh, no, I have that. In fact, I've gone through the process once and have it recorded. They just have not stopped, and they're still going, and I wanted to do it on this. Now, I had asked this question a couple weeks ago on the call, and they had mentioned that, yes, even without the names, you can PSQ them, right. But I didn't know enough at the time to know, okay, well, how do you address it? How do you don't have anybody's name?
Yeah, you're right.
I was able to come up with a couple of names. Is it even possible they may not be there anymore, the names may not be any good. Can I put the name in and say, or they're assigns, or the current commissioner, or what do you say?
Well, truthfully, from what I have heard, is that they don't always use their real names anyhow.
Okay. It's almost impossible to reach these guys to get any information. It's
right.
I was stunned how secret they really are.
Are you familiar with? Do you have a voucher? Whatever they say that you owe? Do you have a statement that has like a perfect voucher on it?
I'm not sure what you're asking me, which probably says I don't. I know what they're asking.
Anything? Have you ever asked them for the transcripts? Have you ever asked them for an amount that you owe?
They've given me the amount.
Okay, and
that's where there's 3 letters from 2 different offices, and they're saying that I owe them $403,000, which was just some wild figures that they're throwing out there for 3 different years.
Okay. Well, are you familiar with the 1040V?
Actually, I have heard of it.
Okay. It's a 1040 voucher. You can go online and just type in 1040V. It's another obviously it's an IRS form, and you can print that out. And then there are money orders that you can you just money order that amount. And there's an address. And you have the Utah address, and there's also an Austin address that you can send it to.
And what is it that I'm trying to accomplish by sending it in?
Have you ever heard of the accepted? You just accept for value. Return. You take their paperwork and you accept it for value with the figure on it. Accept for value, exempt from levy. You write the exemption ID number, which is the Social Security number without any dashes. You write you write your whole name, you date it. You want to sign, from what I've been told, you want to sign it in blue. And if you hang on a minute, I'll give you the address of the lady that should be sending this to in Austin. I've heard that this is an effective route.
Yeah, I'm not going to know enough about this to be real comfortable with just winging it on that one.
Hey, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
This is Matthew. He needs to go over those templates that Mike put out on what was that email?
I have the templates, and I know how to do the PSQ process. I'm just not sure what to put in for their name because they did not supply any names.
Yeah, they didn't give them the name.
I'm referring to the accepted for value stamp that you're explaining. That's under I think it's under the BIC process link, because there's like 15 or 20 different hyperlinks when you email that email address. And I don't know about the money order template, if that's in that thing or not.
No.
Dave, do you know?
Dave on?
Yeah, he's on.
Oh.
No, I don't know. I haven't checked that out. But whoever got this gentleman to the call might want to, what you need to do is you need to educate yourself as to where you are with this and what they're doing, what they're asking for, and what that presentment is, because that's what we're talking about. It just boils down to that's a presentment, and you need to know how to take that presentment and return it to them honorably, so that they recognize it. And they may not do it the first time around. They may not do the second, the third, or the fourth. But eventually, if you're persistent, once they understand that you understand what you're doing, then they'll honor it. Okay, because there is no money. There is no money. You know that, right? You understand that?
I understand.
Okay, so you said, I think I heard you say they're making up figures or whatever they're doing there for three past years. Do you have the piece of paper in front of you that they sent you?
No, I don't. Oh, actually, I should have, but I don't. If I could, mean the letters that they sent?
Yes.
I could have it here in just a second. See, and I am researching and studying. I just went to a seminar this last weekend. So what you're talking about is something I am going to pursue and become more knowledgeable about. But what I want, this was Tim Turner's seminar.
Oh, geez. Well, Tim's got enough information and templates and everything else in the CD that he gave you to easily take care of this presentment they just sent you.
And I'm going to do that. I am going to do that. But my thought process was, and maybe you'll tell me that it's not even necessary, it's going to take me a little while to do the whole process of the UCC-1, the Freedom Papers, financial papers. It's going to take a while, so I thought I would PSQ them in the meantime. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. I will get the rest of it done. I know what you're saying.
Are you saying you're setting up your foundational documents first?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that you need to do that. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a bad idea. I would, if I were you, yes, I would set up my foundational documents as well. What I'm saying is that to take their presentment, accept it for value, take the voucher, turn it into a money order, and send it back to them under notary seal. I would probably send it back to Austin. I wouldn't send it to Ogden. That's just me.
Let me tell you that Austin address real quick. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Internal Revenue Service, attention, operations manager, accounts management. With a comma there. So operations manager, comma, accounts management. The lady's name is Anna, A-N-N-A, Medlock, M-E, that's like Mary, Edward, David, L-O-C-K, like a lock, Medlock, Anna Medlock. P.O. Box 149338. That's 149338. Austin, Texas 78714-9338. Austin, Texas 78714-9338. You might want to include a little typed out letter that says enclosed, or you'll find the necessary documents to zero out this count. If you feel like giving your phone number, you could do that. Thanks for your attention. Don't sign that. Just put the name there and what I'm seeing on what was shared with me. Send that with the presentment. Send it with the voucher. Send it with the money order, and boom, you're done.
Okay, so that was Internal Revenue Service Operations Manager.
Accounts management.
Account management, okay. Anna Medlock, P.O. Box 149338, Austin, Texas 78714-9338. Okay.
Yep.
So, and then I don't want to hog the phone here. So what you're saying is, do not worry about the PSQing them right now. Just move on to the other documents.
They haven't divulged themselves to you. I mean, they haven't. You know, where you would use a PSQ is more if you had a visitor.
Okay.
Right.
Or if they gave you an exact name. By the way, you want to send that registered mail.
Okay. Yes, I understand that. I understand that concept. Okay.
Okay.
So we're okay. So don't worry about the PSQ because nobody came to my door. Take care of the documents and follow that procedure.
Yep.
Thank you very, very much. And if you got anything else to tell me, I'll listen. But otherwise, I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can only share with you what we might do if we were in your shoes, or we might share with you what we've already done. You know, we can't give you legal advice. We can't give you any tax advice. The nature of these calls and this forum is just to share information back and forth. You know, based on freedom of speech.
No problem. I understand, and I take responsibility for all my actions. But I do want you to know I greatly appreciate your help.
Well,
good man.
Thanks
for coming on.
There's probably more people that learned a little bit there too by you coming out. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Is somebody in D.C.?
Yeah, let me unmute him. Washington, D.C., you have just been unmuted.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Lamont. I'm from the Washington, D.C. area. My question was dealing with law enforcement and the various agencies. We've got at least, 10 to 20 probably law enforcement agencies within, maybe 10 square miles. And they all deal with these revelations that we have, if you would, or this technology, this information that we have. They all deal with it differently, I guess, depending upon their experiences or who they've dealt with. My question was to, I guess, across the country, do you guys get a lot of resistance from, regular grunt law enforcement? Do you find that it is more feasible to law enforcement to hire their rank? Because I've run across police officers who've...
I think we lost him.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, we lost him. I know him, man. He's a friend of mine, actually.
Do you know where he was going with that question?
No.
Okay.
No,
well, he just dropped off, so
yeah,
I'll go ahead and unmute the next caller. The next call is from East Nebraska. East Nebraska, if you're on the phone, you've just been unmuted.
Yeah, I just was wondering if anyone on the call's been studying any processes where the thought on the money order is rather than using the Social Security number, to utilize the bond number on the back of the Social Security card.
I don't think a lot of people know about that yet, Kevin, but
because I have had, I mean, I don't know. I spent some time on the phone yesterday with Kevin H. from Texas, and he's told me that doing notary process to the IRS is a waste of time. And then Brandon from California told me the same thing last night, because he said even if you get a process against them, how are you going to enforce it? How are you ever going to do a lien against them? So
you're not going to do it. You're not going to do a lien against them because the point of using a notary is, as I stated before, you're using a disinterested third party. You can show that exactly what you mailed, and anybody that mails something themselves, it's called the blank sheet of paper syndrome. Well, I got it, but there was nothing in it. So to prevent that, that's the power of a notary. Is Wes or Tina on the call? Or Jimmy? You guys on?
Tina Skyped me and said she's going to try to get on, but I don't know if she's on yet.
Okay.
But there is a couple of Southwest and Southeast Ohio participants. If you guys hit *8, I can go ahead and unmute you.
And Kevin, maybe we'll get some answers for you.
All right, here we go. Southeast Ohio. You are unmuted.
Hello? This
Hi.
is Wes.
You're on.
This is Wes.
Hey, Wes.
Hey, guys.
Can you explain have you used the notary successfully to the IRS?
Wait, hold on, you're cutting out on me. Say that last part again. I didn't hear you. Say it again.
Have you used have you successfully had service of presentments back to the IRS? You know, your own notary.
I've done some presentments to the IRS, but nothing that has gone any further than actually making the presentment.
Did you hear what Kevin was asking? Kevin was asking and saying that people.
I've been back and forth off the call here. I've been taking care of my daughter. What was the last part he said there?
He said that several people have used a notary to the IRS and it really hasn't had much effect.
Well, like you said earlier in the call, anytime you're sending out a presentment, either be the IRS or really anybody for that matter, using a notary is a good thing. A lot of people don't realize a notary is basically an agent for the Secretary of State and is an automatic third-party witness that is disinterested in the call or disinterested in the matter altogether. I know that I have heard of cases where people have actually done better and actually, well, I guess for the lack of better words, won or swayed the case their direction by doing things with a notary. It depends on who's getting the presentment. If it's the IRS, it's probably not going to shake them a whole lot, but I do know, like in terms of debt collection or foreclosure or anything for that matter, using a notary makes them stand up and take attention. I do know that.
Well, and this is to anybody that has sent anything out to the IRS before to challenge their authority. If you have done that in the past, there are a lot of people that have sent letters and saying, hey, prove up, and all that stuff. I would write a letter and say, I've done a lot of reading, I've done a lot of new research, and I'd like to rescind that letter and wipe that slate clean. And that goes for any IBOEs, which are International Bonds of Exchange, any type of other type of presentment other than what's in this 1099, to basically clear that out, because otherwise they might be looking at you as saying, hey, this guy's throwing everything against the wall and seeing what sticks. So try to wipe that slate clean, and then if you're not getting satisfaction with the 1040V in the money order, as I've said to other people, I would contact CID and say, there's some people that are in this organization that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you need to check into it, because as far as I'm concerned, this matter is closed. I just got off the phone earlier today with a guy that he might even be on the call, but he was telling me that 98 to 2005 he resolved with that very process that we just explained earlier, with the V and the money order. So it is working. It's very frustrating when it's not working for all of us, but that's another thing I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to mention. There is a gentleman, and many of you might know who I'm speaking of, that has mentioned that the OID process is dead, and that is erroneous. They use fear, folks, much like this whole message of martial law and FEMA camps, and those things might be out there, FEMA camps. But martial law, guess what? We've been under martial law since 1933. Go read the Trading with the Enemy Act. Go look at the courts and look at the flags that are flying in every single court. They got a yellow fringe around them. Those are military flags. So we're under martial law. It's just not has escalated yet.
You ready for the next caller?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Golden 57, you're next. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Ellie.
Just a little perplexing question. I was thinking about it as you were talking about Ann Medlock and the accepted for value. I verified again today 3 AFVs that I sent registered on the 18th, on March 18th. Believe it or not, I'm still seeing that the items were accepted, meaning when I went to the post office on the 18th, and nothing else. There is absolutely no info, like it's vanished into thin air.
You sent it registered?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would go down to your local post office, and sometimes they're getting so much. From what I heard, Austin is getting so much. They're being inundated. And go down and say, I want. Did you send it with a green card?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
I did.
So go back to your post office there and say, I see this has been accepted, but I haven't got a green card back. I haven't, and say,
yeah.
I paid for it, and the service must be performed. So either I want that green card. I want the proof.
Well, beyond the green card, it's the fact that it doesn't even. Registered, as you know, is treated very, very cautiously, and it's quite interesting that nothing shows that the item was even received, or it's quite interesting.
That's why we had this when we were doing all that administrative work, when I was doing it, like I said earlier, when we did hundreds of these and sent registered mail, and Bank of America was playing tricks in their mail room, and I went down to the postmaster and had a little meeting. Said,
right.
We're spending hundreds of dollars here. You need to make sure, and you need to get on the phone with the postmaster in North Carolina and get this resolved. And we got it done. But that's mail this is their most sacred service, registered mail. So you need to hold their feet to the fire and say, come on, I paid for this, get this done. I've heard of that happening before, too. There's a guy that I spoke to out of Florida that told me something similar, that they sent it was like a black hole. So I think what I said earlier, they're getting a lot of these. They must be getting thousands a day.
Okay. I was just wondering, remember,
a couple hundred, several hundred a day,
Right. I was just wondering if it had anything to do with the brackets, the zip code being in brackets.
No, and when you actually, you should not be sending it to a post the IRS with it in brackets.
I know. I follow instructions that are listed there.
Yeah. Anyway, so don't worry about that.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Matthew?
Any other callers that want to ask a question, go ahead and hit star 8 on your phone. That's all I got for right now, Steve.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Aggie Mark.
Yes, hi.
You're unmuted.
Well, thank you for taking the call. Hello, thank you for taking the call. Yes, I have several questions involving the PSQ and the forms that I got downloaded, the docs from, from the email address.
Okay.
All right. First one was it talks about an affidavit of service and an affidavit of truth. And I assume is the affidavit of service just of a generic nature?
Yeah, these are all templates. These are all templates.
Pardon?
They're all templates.
Yeah, there was no template that I could see in the docs that I got downloaded, about 20-some docs. I saw no affidavit of service or affidavit of truth.
In the PSQ?
In the PSQ, yeah.
No, there was no. To my knowledge, there was no affidavit of truth in the PSQ. You might
right, and that's what I'm asking about. If those are special docs or they're just generic, or where would I find them? Since I didn't find them in the docs that I downloaded from you guys.
Those are all Mike's documents. So, Dave, are you around? Are you? I think that they might be in other folders. Of did you get all those A Drive links?
Yes, I've gotten every A Drive link. The only one I didn't come through was the FOIA. For me,
okay.
I couldn't access the FOIA. I accessed every one of the other ones that were forwarded to me, and they're about 25 or 30 almost. I don't remember, but I got every one including the W-10, the B-10, and the W-10, whatever those were, and so forth. I got all of those, but I didn't find any affidavit of service or affidavit of truth.
Well, an affidavit of service is real simple. An affidavit of service is, a certificate of service, an affidavit of service is saying, hey, I so-and-so, whether it's a notary or someone else that's a disinterested party, mail said document on. You could. Yeah,
it's just generic in nature, correct? Basically,
right.
It's just a generic thing.
Generic. And an affidavit of truth, I'm almost positive you could go and type affidavit of truth in the search engine, and enough people have posted those now to.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
It also talks about on the declaration when you're going to send this to your Congress officials and so forth, a declaration, and it has in parentheses an affidavit of truth and a true bill. It specifically says in the instructions, it says where it talks about sending this to your congressman, and you send this to them, and it talks about the affidavit of truth, true bill business. Affidavit of truth, of course, has already been.
That could also relate to if it was a court case or not. So
okay, because in phase 4, in phase 6 it says here, but in phase 6 on the instructions, the questionnaire process, it talks about sending an affidavit of truth and true bill, recording default and follow-up mailing to the public officials. And so I was asking
about. I see that, but that is in relation to. I'm almost positive that would be in relation to a true bill would be if you're in a court case.
Okay. Otherwise, you would just send this to when the PSQ when the public servant does not respond, you send this. You don't send the bill. You just send the affidavit of truth and the recording default. If you got to that point.
Well. Yeah, you could. I would send the notice of default, and here, let me see the phase 4 declaration of. Yeah, the true bill would be the presentment.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at what it says here. That's all, and I'm just trying to understand it. All right, and now one other question that I have, which I wanted to raise involving the OID process.
Okay.
It talks. I had submitted electronically 1099 OIDs, and I got back a thing about, are you aware that this is percentages are not right, basically? And I had sent back then a statement that said it was true and accurate to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
So I got a follow-up then from them, a follow-up email saying that you better read these warnings, and you have to declare under penalties of perjury. And so I think that that's part of their tactics. Okay.
Well, they're trying to scare people. You go to the website. They're trying to scare people. So as long as you know and you are comfortable, and you can, as we've mentioned on this call before, as long as you have receipts, then feel comfortable and move forward. But if you can't,
right. And I was going to send back to them under penalty of perjury to the best of my knowledge, ability, and belief, obtained from my interpretation of the IRS codes. The form submitted contained true and accurate information.
Yeah,
I was going to send that back to them.
Yeah.
And I think that would pretty much cover things.
Well, as long as you're willing to do it, like you said, under penalty of perjury.
Well, but I am speaking from my heart about that. I mean, there's no doubt about that. My interpretation of the codes.
Right. Well, and 1212, their form 1212, I think it's page 8, talks about a lot of things. In
1212 what? I'm sorry.
I think it's publication 1212. Go read publication 1212, specifically right around page 8 and 9.
Is this about the OID process, or did you mean 1220? 1220, or no?
No, 1212.
Okay, 1212. All right, because there is a 1220 related to that, I think.
Yeah, there is too. Mm-hmm. I haven't read that one personally, but.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was curious about that affidavit of truth because I couldn't find that, and I couldn't open the FOIA document at all. So
just do a search engine, and if you know somebody that got you on this call or whatever, that I know they're available in the search engine, and you might want to change it to more of your style, because you'll find something online and you might say, that doesn't resonate with me. And
sure, I understand that. I have a friend, by the way, who used the enrolled agent in California, and they have now they're trying to get back the money, and she's being presented with vouchers and so forth, with coupons.
Right.
And she has tried so far once to submit a money in relation to that. And I missed for the first part of the call where you guys were addressing. So I feel like I'm out. I missed a very important part. I just couldn't get on the call before that.
Well, the call is recorded, so you can always you have the link.
Right. I've got all your previous calls for the last month. All right. Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Thank you so much. And I sent you guys a link to a special song, by the way, called Bankster Bash, which is really a scathing statement about what's happened to our whole banking situation. It's a very entertaining song, and it's a friend of mine and I did it, and it's on the End the Fed website. And I think people would find it. They might like it. They may not enjoy it.
What is the website? Why don't you say it over the air so that people can.
Okay, it's End the Fed. It's the National End the Fed website, and it's
endthefed.com or endthefed what?
End the Fed, ENDTHEFED, endthefed.us.
Okay.
You go to the audio page. Go to the audio page and you'll find a link that you can click on for Bankster Bash by Rebel Moon. I think people will find it very funny and very telling as well.
You should also get that on YouTube or somewhere too.
I know. I'm working on a video to go along with it now. I don't have the video yet, so being on YouTube doesn't help if you don't have the video related to it. But you know, it was one of the 2 songs that they put up on End the Fed, because it's really a very scathing truth document, you know, and I think people will laugh, and of course they will relate to Monster Mash, but it's no words like Monster Mash, and the chord progressions and melodies are different, but you think of Monster Mash when you hear the Bankster Bash. Believe me,
that's cool.
Believe me, I'm telling you, none of the banksters will like it, because it's pretty damning.
Well, there's a by the name of Mike Adams that put out. You can go on YouTube and put out. He wrote a song. I want my bailout cash or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and it's. I sent you guys an email, or at least I attempted to send Neil Morpheus a link for that as well.
What happened? I think that email is an autoresponder, so you get the links. That's all that email is for.
So that's just for the docs you can download. That's really not. Well, I didn't know where else to send it. So you know.
That's right.
What's that?
I said, well, now we have the website, so everybody that is listening that cares to go or listens to this later on will be able to go to endthefed.us, right?
Well, that's great. That's great.
Awesome.
And that's a powerful. You know, I think that's a pretty powerful movement, that End the Fed.
Well,
so
it's certainly growing.
All right. Thanks again.
You're
really
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Matthew?
All right, we got another caller here. It's D. Yogi. You've been unmuted. D. Yogi.
Hello.
Oh, hi. I didn't. It's D-O-G.
D-O-G. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is actually Esther in California. For the gentleman that was just on, I'm also in the process of doing the PSQ, and there were some missing documents, and he knows that. But that true bill, from what I understand, the county recorder. That's
you broke up. You might want to repeat that. The true bill is what?
Is for using at the county recorder's office to record the notice of default. That's what I understand.
Okay.
Okay, and I had another question too. I was one of the people that used the California EA, and we've done our A for V, and we used a voucher. We actually sent it to Covington, Kentucky, and haven't heard anything in over a month. So we're hoping no news is good news. But I'm wondering if anybody would have some pointers and on what we might try to do to recover the funds that they've already taken. And I'm wondering if this Anna Medlock address, a letter, and then claim forms to her, maybe?
I think she is simply a processor of from what my understanding of it is, she's simply a processor of those accepted for value, and that is a discharge and set off processing center. So that's.
But once if it's set off for that amount, I would think that bookkeeping would require them to return funds. I think.
Funds that were taken after you recouped them already?
Yes. Funds that they did a jeopardy levy against us. Actually, they were at the bank before we even got the notice of levy and had frozen the funds and took basically everything we have. And then sent us a whopping bill, and we've done accepted for value with the 1040V. And I'm just thinking,
did you do a money order?
Yes, we did. In fact,
I would also go and find out within. Is it a local bank?
Yes.
I'd find out who signed it. Because you're the signatory on that account, and whoever released it is in big trouble.
Who signed to release the funds?
Yeah.
Are you talking about somebody at the bank?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we pursue this?
Write them go down there and demand to see the signature of who released the funds. And they say, well, the IRS came in here and say, I want to know who did it.
And then what do we do, though? I mean, they tell us, and
what authority do you have? And they say, that we had a levy. Say that you weren't even properly noticed.
Okay.
They went beyond their charter. That bank. Mention that to their legal counsel.
Okay. I don't feel like I'm prepared to see this all the way through.
Well, then it's, I guess the best thing to do is, I would also send that same thing off to that Austin address, because I have not heard of anything at Covington, Cincinnati. It's Covington, working.
Okay. Should we just wait for the next presentment?
I would
send copies of copies.
Yeah, you could probably do that. Send it off to Austin.
Okay. We'll do that.
Hopefully it's not a black hole. I mean, I know people that have sent stuff there that it has worked for them. So I know personally.
To the Austin address?
Yeah, but the like I said, they're probably getting hundreds per day.
I'm sure they are.
A lot of people are waking up to all this.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome. How many people are still on the call, Matthew? Because I wanted to read this letter. I forgot to read this letter that I got.
24.
Okay, well, let me read this letter. Let me read this in its entirety, because it is good. It's about the IRA. It's about the OID. Bear with me a second here. This is from a gentleman that I've been on his conference calls. I really respect his an honorable man. He's out of Atlanta. He's helping people. This is a very interesting letter. It says, "Dear friends, this is a general overview to the current status of the OID process and a general overview of the status of the IRS and Federal Reserve Bank. Most of you are aware that the Federal Reserve Bank and IRS are not a part of the government and never have been. According to my resources, and they are credible sources, the IRS will be brought under the supervision of the Secretary Treasurer, which is the department under the United States Corporation. It's already under the IMF. Anyway, this would make the IRS subject to the codes and not just the codes of a debt collector. This will be a good thing because enforcement of the codes will produce your refund, I call it recoupment, back to you. The banking system will be brought under the same department. That means that the Federal Reserve Bank will be either eliminated or a transfer of ownership. This will be a good thing. That's going to be interesting. Anyway, the reason I'm giving you this information is so that you will be better able to understand what is happening with your refunds and the filing of your 1040s. First, let me give you a recap for the OID process. You are entitled under the code to receive a refund or recoupment from the U.S. Treasury for all funds that have been created from your signature. I repeat, this is in his words, but this is mine. Signature is a sign of your nature, folks. This includes bank deposits, notes, mortgages, credit lines of credit. The politicians have been doing this for years. In the last several months, more and more people have been correctly completing their 1040s so that the refunds have been enormous. The refund amounts have exceeded the cash flow of the IRS collection. Simply stated, there has not been enough funds available to pay all these refunds. For that reason and others, the management at high levels have resorted to illegal activities. One thing they are doing is sending letters to the banks that receive the direct deposits and asking the banks to put a hold on the funds and then send the funds back into the system. What prompted me for remembering this is this lady just on the call. Many banks are doing this because of the fear of the IRS. When the bank does this, they are committing 2 counts of bank fraud. One count is civil, and the one count is criminal. The IRS sends a letter to the bank claiming that the IRS will take full responsibility for any and all damages that the bank incurs because of their actions. What will happen? The banks, when they learn that the IRS will no longer be there to take that liability for them. he posed that question. Another thing IRS is doing is they're trying to stop the direct deposit before it leaves the system. This is difficult for them because of the high volume of electronic filing, but they have been quite successful at this. They are currently holding all amounts over $10,000. Some refunds are slipping through the cracks, but most are not. I heard recently from a guy that somebody did get in fact, several people did get one. So we're seeing successes, we're seeing others. So here he goes on. As these IRS tactics have increased in the last week, I've been speaking with a retired military judge who has had top-level security clearance to all public records. He had been teaching seminars on OID and sovereignty since his retirement. He was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. He also was a deputy provost marshal. I don't want to keep going on and on with this letter, but the bottom line is this shows you that there are many, many, many people around the country that are involved in this, working diligently to bring forth remedy on this process. So hang in there, folks, with calls like this and us networking. And I did what I call a thesis paper on networking. Networking is giving without expectation. That's why Dave and I and Steve and Wes and all these people come on this call, because we feel so encouraged by the fact that people want to hear this information, they want to participate, they want to help others, and going right back to what I said earlier, do unto others is what you want done unto you. Simply stated. So if there aren't any other callers, I'm done for the evening sharing. And anybody else had anything else to share or ask?
I got one more here from East Nebraska.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, Steve, I still don't have a clue as to how to enforce the PSQ. I mean, I have as you have seen, a blue ink signature from an IRS agent. I don't know, and it was not done by notary, but it's irrelevant because they're admitting that they have the document. And in their document it says, and I quote,
Kevin, let's go back. Send it to your congressman. Send it to the congressman.
Hey, Steve, I've been to my congressman's office 3 times. I can't get a letter from him either. So either the PSQ thing works or it don't. And if you don't know how to enforce it, which I've read everything that I've gotten from Mike, and I appreciate him doing it, but I don't understand how to enforce it. And they are saying in their letter to me, blue ink signature, taxpayers sent several faxed letters and requested a PSQ be completed and returned. However, courts have ruled that a PSQ is irrelevant and invasive, and government employees are not required to complete. No response by the appeals office to taxpayers' request is required or warranted.
And did they quote any laws when they said that?
Of course they didn't, Dave.
Okay. Then guess what? Don't buy into it.
It's probably a lie.
Probably? You can take that word out. Remember, here's one distinction you got to have. It's not the paperwork. It's the man behind the paperwork. So, they sent you a letter and said, oh, no, yeah, the courts have never said, oh, we don't have to do this, and government officials, and none of that. Have you taken the PSQ and have you looked at all the statutes on the back page?
Yes, I have. And the very first one I looked up that I read, there was like 11 pages that had, I can't find a thing in there that has anything to do with a public official having any duty to respond to any request.
Well, they do. They do. They are responsible. They can't kick open your door and just blast into your house and do whatever the hell they want to do. I mean, the simplest. The common sense behind that is just it's right there. Can they do that? Well, no, of course they can't. Do they do it? Yes, because this comes down to sandbox stuff. A kid in a sandbox is going to keep doing it until somebody stops him. So I would keep after it. And so go to your congressman. And so fine, put him on judicial notice. Look, I want resolve with this. That's what we put you in office to do. Now, if you can't do that, then I can let you adjoin the contract. So if you're not going to do your job, Mr. Congressman, who can? Who will? You follow what I'm saying? You're disputing it. You're putting it out there, but don't stop. Keep going until you get the answer that you want. Does that make sense?
Well, yes and no. Understanding what probably should be done and understanding how to do it is two totally different things. So, I can read through all of the material again.
Hello, we lose. Hello.
Is he there?
Yeah, so what I was saying was understanding what to do and understanding how to do it is two different things. And I can read through everything again, but I don't understand how to force them into the corner. No, I don't understand that. And meanwhile, of course, they just move forward in their processes. So I'm willing
what do you mean they're moving? They're moving. You put them on notice. Did I hear you say that you did it with a notary?
I did not, because I did not have one available. But I have a bleeding signature that says they got it. So the fact that
whoa. Okay, I understand that. But if you don't use a notary, you don't have a state official's affidavit. And when you can take a state official, which a notary is a state official, and you put that into the public record, now you've got something. Now, if you really want to do it, then find your local IRS office and go into their IRS office and find a supervisor and get their name. And if you want to go get up in their face, then there's the way to do it. If you want to enforce and demand that this information be brought forth. Look, it's pretty obvious that IRS uses false names. They use fictional names. Well, why do they do that? Why would they have to do that? Why is everybody in this country scared shitless of the IRS? Isn't that interesting?
Because
they have to use.
And they raid your bank accounts, just like we heard tonight on the phone, Dave.
Well, I understand that, but I wouldn't have done what that woman did. If you're going to get an IRS refund, if I was going to get a refund, then I would use some logic behind depositing it and so on. If I got it in the mail, I'd wait a little while before I deposit it. And I would certainly try to deposit it into an account where as soon as the funds came available, they'd be flying out of there so fast your head would spin.
Can I jump in on the phone? As far
you
as
sure can.
Refund. Hey guys, it's Tina. I'm not going to talk much because my voice is not doing well the past couple days. Here's what we do, and it's right along the lines of what Dave's saying. I actually, with my clients, I open a separate escrow account that is specifically for their check. The bank is completely aware that a large check is coming in, and as soon as it comes in, it turns around and goes right back out. I've built a really good relationship with the manager. He actually worships the ground I walk on. It's quite funny. But even so, when we open the accounts, the signature card is done with our real name, with accepted for value written across it in big red letters and turned in with a UCC. And they might go, what is this? But even just one of my clients did it in his hometown to deposit his portion of the money. And it was even a Capital One checking. And the chick who was opening it didn't know what was going on, but she took it in the back and she came out and said, they understand what you're doing. It's okay. And that makes it a private account. It's going to be a little more difficult for them to get their hands on it. I can't guarantee that they won't. But, you know, a separate account where the money goes in and as soon as it comes in and comes out is, I won't deposit it into my account, that's for sure. So
where does it go after you pull it right back out again, Tina?
Huh?
When you said as soon as it goes in, it comes back out, what are you doing with it after that?
It goes where it's supposed to go.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, that checking account is literally open for one purpose and one purpose only. It's as a way to get the check cleared. Because now, most of the time, they're not doing direct deposits on these large checks because they know most of them are with us. So most of the time, you will get a check even if you request direct deposit. So as soon as the check clears, the money's out of there.
Going back to Kevin, I would say, and I've shared this with you before, I would get CID involved. CID involved. That's what they do. They're supposed to investigate their own.
You know, Mike's been on this call for a long time, and he recently shared with many of us that he used the abatement process, and he used the PSQ process, and there was a IRS agent who was hot and heavy after him for a long, long time. And I have it firsthand information that that IRS agent lost his job. And now he's under criminal investigation. And it was the abatement and the PSQ that nailed him. So, look, man, you know, and I understand where this man's coming from. It's frustrating because they ignore. Well, you know, as long as you know that going in there and you know that, you know, you're going to have to push it. You're going to have to push it hard. Because, you know, I'm not sure whether you may have heard me say this on a call one time, but I was at an event one time where there was 2 IRS agents, and they had flipped and gone to the other side. And they made something crystal clear to the attendees of that event, and that is that the IRS uses fear and intimidation to get what they want. However, 90% of what they do is a bluff. Because, you know, they are a fraud. I mean, sorry, that's what they are. They're an international corporation. They've moved now from Puerto Rico to, you know, I mean, they're moving all over the place. There's all kinds of things going on right now with IRS and Federal Reserve. So on the level that most of the people on this call are playing at with OID and so on, you know, and accepting things for value and taking vouchers and turning them into money orders. I mean, you know, we know for a fact that this stuff works, and it is working. It doesn't mean it's going to work. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work the first time, but you just got to stay at it. You just can't give up. You got to keep going.
Kevin actually told me that he sent in, I think, 4 or 5 of them, but he is the rogue agent.
It takes
but the
time.
rogue agent ain't getting this stuff. This is, I mean, my documents have been sent to offices and things, so that I don't know if the rogue agent, unless they have total computer access, which I do not think so, and can shut things down.
There's 5 mainframes within IRS, is my understanding, and sometimes it does take a while for all 5 of the major mainframes to hook up and talk to each other. So, you know, it's going to boil down to this, man. What you're doing is right. The way you're processing and putting it back to them is right. Now, whether you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's correctly. I don't know. I've never seen your paperwork. But what I can tell you is, you know, eventually they'll see you do it enough times. You know, my belief is it's going to get resolved. Because I've seen evidence of that working for lots of people. First-hand information.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just hang in there, man.
What was Tina going to say?
Well, with the IRS issues too, guys, it takes some time. One of the people that I'm working with had an alleged IRS debt of it was quite a significant amount, especially for them. It was around $90,000, and they did the bond process a year ago. It was just a couple weeks shy of a year ago. It finally got processed. They just got a letter, so it took that long, but it does work, and it's because they stuck with it. I mean, they'll do some things, they'll send some things along the way that they want to see if you're going to stay true to your path or if their letters will veer you off. They want to know if you just kind of read the stuff on the internet and thought, well, if I throw this to the wall, we'll see if it sticks, or if you really know what you're doing. But especially with dealing with them, it takes some time.
What bond process are you referring to, Tina?
With the, you know, you start with your birth certificate bond and indemnity bond, the bonds to lead you up to be able to do a bonded promissory note.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so they offset. Actually, they just used an offset letter that worked with their offset bond, and it took about a year. And that's what I've seen with a lot of the people that I'm working with, especially with the IRS. It's taking about a year for the issues to get resolved, but it does happen as long as you're persistent.
Steve, I have two more callers with questions. One is Southeast Florida. Let me go ahead and unmute them if we're ready here. Southeast Florida, you have been unmuted.
This is Al. Hi, are you listening? This is Al.
Yep, we're here.
Okay, good. Regarding Tina's comment about doing a bond, a group of friends and I, we did a bond with the Treasury, was sent out. We got a frivolous letter that we should not be doing this. And we were trying to help in my case, about 30 people to pay off their debt through this bonded promissory note. But the only response we got was from the IRS being a frivolous letter, and then it went silent. So we're about a year or something into the process, and we don't know the people that did the process for us, if they did it properly or not, because we were sort of kept in the dark.
I would venture to say that it was probably not proper. Again, it could have been proper, and then they don't know if it wasn't you, and they've seen this paperwork regurgitated enough, they might be going, these people know what they're doing. So, if you heard earlier about the 1040V and money order, I would get that in.
Okay, that would be the best way to get rid of the debt through that venue.
Well,
they're working well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I said they're working well. Just to reaffirm what he's saying, it's hard to know without seeing your bonds. Some of them that are out there are right, and some of them, there's a few things that, and it's hard to know whether yours was right and they're just trying to deter you, or whether there was a couple minor things in yours that made it so it wasn't processable. But the money orders tend to be a little simpler to do. You'll get a few of them, but just like he said, that's that, along with the 1040V, seems to be working pretty well.
So the money orders and accessing your account, your Treasury account, would be a good way to go, a simpler way, I guess, being that you do all the paperwork necessary to do that, I guess.
Well, it's not accessing a Treasury account, it's using accepted for value, as we explained earlier. Did you hear that? About the,
Yes, I did, right.
Yeah, so just do that. Try to do that, and you waited this long, I would.
Okay.
I would do the accepted for value.
Is there anything else that needs to be done to do the accepted for value? Any other documents that need to be in place with any agencies?
No.
So you just do an accepted for value and send it in?
Mm-hmm. As we explained before on the call, yep.
Okay. Okay. Is there any way other than the Neomorpheus link that we receive via email? Is there any other way to get more information, documents, other than that form? You know,
Matthew,
you're
talking about the PSQ and all that other stuff?
PSQ and any other supporting documents to learn more about what we're doing?
Well, as far as the 1099 OID and all that other stuff, I don't know if that's in that list or not. Matthew, do you have that email address that you used?
It's NMRPHS. That's N as in November, M as in Mike.
Oh, Neomorpheus, yeah.
You have that one?
Yes.
At gmail.com.
Yes, and you get an automatic email back.
Yes.
And then you got the A Drive link. Did you download
No, I don't.
Those?
I don't have that one.
You get, an automatic email back, and then there's...
You get about 20 hyperlinks, and it downloads the documents from A Drive where they're uploaded. So you don't have to go to A Drive. You just click on the link, and it'll bring up a little window to ask if you want to download it and where you want to save it.
Okay.
On your computer, yeah.
Okay, I guess that's... Tina, I think Tina offers consultation, or she offers help for... I believe she has clients that she has... a working relationship with. Is she available to offer to people that want to maybe join what she's doing or get help from her?
Not right now.
Okay.
Right now I am swamped. I've got to get through the batch that I have that I'm working on. There's more work than I can possibly imagine, and when we added going back and doing the judgments on everything, I got to go back and do them on all the people that I've already done, plus the people I'm working on. When I get caught up with that, I can, my goal is to help as many people as I can, but there's only so much that I can do at once. So,
okay.
I'll just let you know, but right now I'm swamped, and it's going to be a few more months before I am free with the batch of people that I'm working on right now. So.
All right. Well, we'll keep listening to the conference calls and learning the process.
Okay.
I thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for asking.
Okay. We have a caller from, it says, North and Central Orange County.
Yes. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Rita. I received a bank deposit of $320,639 and transferred it to a Monex account into gold and silver where it could gain in value so that I could help people with the income off of it. This was on OIDs on my property only, on three deeds on my property. I received a intent to levy from the IRS for $460,312, a little over $140,000 plus some interest. And they informed me in their letter that they were attempting to collect unpaid taxes.
They want to recontract with you. Return it as a voucher and take care of it.
Let me ask a question. When you did this through the OID process?
Yes, by fire.
Did someone do this for you, or did you do it yourself?
A friend of mine used his number.
Okay, but you did this yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you on the OID form? Were you the payer or the recipient?
Payer.
That's why. You made yourself the withholding agent. When you make yourself the payer is the withholding agent. They're the one that's holding the taxes that goes to the recipient. They're coming back for the withholding tax from you. You can accept it for value to remain in honor, but, without giving you legal or tax advice, I would go back and correct those OIDs you've got to put yourself in a position where you have the authority to file as an authorized representative for the bank, but they're the payer and you're the recipient. That's why they're coming back for you for more than you even got.
Well, what they're coming back to me is what they already took in taxes from it to begin with.
They're coming back for you for the amount that was in box 4. Because you claimed when you made yourself the payer, you claimed that you were withholding that amount in taxes that should have been turned over to the IRS.
Okay, so you're saying we should be in as a recipient, not as a payer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if I go back and accept it for value and do it with a voucher, then that clears the record?
Right, it'll take some time, but you always, everything's about honor and dishonor, and accept it for value and send it back. And they'll send you another one. Do it again.
What about a 1099-A?
I don't mess with 1099-As with the IRS.
Just do it with an accepted for value and a
voucher?
Do.
That's what I always do.
You mean because she did it the ZYA way,
yeah.
you wouldn't?
Now, wait a minute. Just
no. Oh, you mean as far as doing the 1099-A to get it in? Well, yeah, if you haven't done the A's, then that's the other. It sounds like your process was kind of completely 180 from where it should have been. I was in your boat when I first started doing this. I was on that money train too. I mean, that's a lot of us were.
Okay.
But there's a little more to it than just. I mean, there's you have to reclaim your abandoned funds first.
Okay.
With the 1099-A.
The first time I did it, I did the ZYA last year. This time I did it with. I'm sorry, I misspoke. This time I did it with the reverse, as me as the recipient.
And that's what the money that you got was for, and they're coming back for it?
Right.
Were your A's or were your OIDs filed?
Yes.
You did them electronically, right?
Right.
Was the money they're coming back for you for what you filed last year?
On the 08, yeah. I filed in January. Received it in February. A month later, they're on the comeback.
Right. I would accept it for value.
Did you get a voucher with it?
No, I just got a notice of levy against my Monex account, which is a gold and silver company.
Did you file A's when you did the return?
Yes.
You did do A's and OIDs?
I did A's and OIDs, waited, had them accepted, then sent in my tax return by TurboTax.
Interesting. See, you're the first case that I've heard them coming back with the A's filed, where they've done it the right way.
Did you file the A's? Did you file the A's and the OIDs electronically?
Yes.
And then you say did you get a check or did they direct deposit?
Automatic direct deposit.
That's interesting. But you transferred it.
Yes, I transferred it to the to a Monex account to invest it in gold, silver, and palladium, so it would have a raise in value, so I could use the money to help people.
Okay, understood.
It was raised. That was my purpose.
Understood. And then they levied that account.
They put a notice of levy on the 17th of March. Then they had two of their agents contact me, their criminal agents for an investigation, special agents. And their special agents asked me how I know how to do it. And I said, these are your publications. These are the forms. We read and filled them in.
Did they come to your house?
No, I met with them at the IRS building in Santa Ana. They came to my house, and at first they came to my house and put a notice on my door. I had a guest in my home, and I wasn't home at the time, so they left an envelope on my door, taped to my door.
Okay.
And then they asked me to meet these criminal agents, and then They want me to go and talk to Miss Fox over at their building in Laguna Niguel. They have a big building there in Orange County, and they wanted to talk to me about collecting unpaid taxes from me.
So when you went to talk to these two special agents, they wanted to, did they ask you why you felt you could do an OID process?
No, they just asked me where I got the information, and I showed them the forms. And they asked me if I'd been to conferences. They asked me about people's names, who told me how to do this, things like that. I said I hadn't been to any conferences, which is true.
Right.
They're fishing. They're fishing.
Yeah, they wanted names, places, and events.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that I'm okay. I sent them a PS. I was going to meet with them, and I overshot. I was going to meet with a lady to find out what, because I asked her, where did you get the information? What makes you believe that this is wrong when this is the information I have and this is what I believe is correct? I have no other information. They asked me if I was going to do it next year. I told them I don't know what I'm going to do next year. It would depend on what my investigation turned out to inform me if that was what I needed to do or not.
They asked.
They wanted to know if I'd do it again next year, yes. Because that was going to show my intent to file a fraudulent return. Their big deal was this was fraud and greed, and that was too much money for me to get. That's what they told me.
Sounds like a judgment call.
They wanted to know if I made that much, and I said, you misinterpreted what the form deals with. This deals with my return on Schedule B of interest. This is not income that I personally went out and made. I'm on Social Security. I'm a retired senior citizen. I just lost the call. No, I'm still here. So that's what I've experienced. Now, I did send them when I missed the meeting with them because I overshot and was halfway to San Diego, overshot the exit. I called them and told them I would not be able to make it, so I did send them the PSQ Monday to the agent that I was supposed to meet with. And I've been trying to figure out in my mind what to do, whether to send them a bond or accept for value and do a money order and take their notice of levy and send them in a good faith and honorable presentment of payment, if that's what they need. And so that's at the point that I'm at right now.
That's just absolutely amazing that they ask you, are you going to do it next year?
Yes. Well, I've got it on tape.
What do you mean you've got it on tape?
I taped our conversation.
Did they know that?
Yes, they knew that. They taped it also. I said, since as an older person, I like to review what it is that I've been, my thought process is what we're going through here, what your questions are. Kind of thing.
The statement you could say is, show me the defect in my process.
I did that in writing over and over, and I asked them again in my letter of Monday with my PSQ to please show me what they wanted, and I gave them 72 hours to respond. Very good. Let's see, it's from the 17th, so I got about approximately 10 more days before I have to absolutely make sure that my accepted for value is out and my request for an appeal process, if this is the way we're going to go. I've also been looking online for the information for Russell George, the Inspector General of the Internal Revenue Service, and it's my intent to write him a letter and send that off tomorrow also. I don't know if you all have gone down that adventure or not. I haven't heard that in your discussions here.
What are you going to put in your letter?
Basically, that this is what my experience has been. I received a refund. I've been contacted by these people that say that I owe them unpaid taxes.
What did you OID? If you don't mind my asking.
My first trust deed and my second and third on my home here in Orange County.
So
that's all.
So you OID'd your money.
That's correct.
you OID the money as you were the creditor and the lender.
Correct.
So did you foreclosed on the claim?
When were those mortgages taken out? Were they done last year, or did you bring them forward?
06, 07, I think.
So they weren't done in 08, and you put them on in 08?
Oh, no, they weren't done in 08. No, they were done in 07, I believe, and one in 06.
But this was an 08 return?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that say you can bring stuff forward, and I
wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't bring anything forward if it's not done in the year. All the people that I know who haven't had any problems doing this, they don't bring anything forward. It's because you have the year that it's done, and you have 3 years from that point. Anything beyond that, now I know that's still in the time frame, but it's still not in the correct year. So when they go back to do the A, when they went back to double check the A, your information wasn't there. There was no A to close out. Your A was in a different year. Your information didn't match, hon.
Oh, okay. So,
but that remember,
fixable.
you're in commerce.
Yep.
It's all
Everything
fixable.
in commerce
so
is correctable.
sounds like you're on the right track. You're communicating with them. I mean, they ask you that tells me something about their communication with you when they ask you, "Are you going to do it next year?"
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty darn interesting right there.
Yeah, it is.
So you are suggesting that this kind of thing needs to be corrected and done in the year it was taken out?
Well, that's where the escrow account is. The escrow account that you're closing with the A, which is what funds the OID, is in the year that it was taken out. And if the numbers don't match, then where does the money from the OID come from? The IRS? When you do the A, that's where the money comes from. But if the A doesn't match what's in their system, then it was basically almost a frivolous A. I mean, everything has to balance. Everything has to match.
Hey, I just need to jump in real quick. We got about 8 minutes left on the call.
Okay. Then so you're suggesting that the correction be done in the year it was taken out, and that I just go ahead and accept for value the bill that I have now, which is the notice of levy?
That's what I would do. Anything they send me, I would just accept it for value.
Okay. And then just continue to accept for value to clear the boards.
Yep.
And even when I do that, then I could go back and do the OID in the year it was taken out? Do I understand you correctly?
Well, that's when that would be a correction to, put everything in its place.
Okay.
I mean, they're looking for the books to be balanced, and when you take the numbers outside of the year that it's done, you just threw everything off. They don't know what's going on now.
Okay. So the correction is to do it in the year it was done, and to clean off the debt owed today on the monies forwarded, do an accept for value so that they can level out their books.
Pretty much.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, Tina?
Yeah.
When you come up for air, I want to connect you with my friend Karen in Chicago. You two would have a lot to talk about. So
can I ask you one thing? Can I ask you one thing?
Sure.
I'm not sure about your I didn't get a clear understanding of what your email thing is. I'm a first-time listener for your program, and I wasn't understanding your Gmail or your website information.
Well, the website is. Did you get that? That's where you can go online, and you can either listen online or you can listen to this call or previous calls, and that's at thetalkshoe.com. Did you write that down, ma'am?
I couldn't understand what you were saying. I was getting N as in Nancy, M as in Mary, R, P-H-R.
Oh, the email?
Yeah. And then I'm not sure where you go on TalkShoe either. I just need that information.
Okay, well, talkshoe.com.
Okay.
/ is the same key as the question mark.
Okay.
/ and then TC like Tom Charlie.
Tom Charlie.
And then / again. And then the user, and then it's 41875. So www.talkshoe.com /TC / 41875.
Okay.
And that will get you onto the all the archives of all the calls. And then the email address, I didn't write down. Matthew, can you come on again and give her that email address? I know it's Gmail.
Yeah, I got the gmail.com, and it looked like N as in Nancy, M as in Mary, R, and then something like PHR. Is that right?
Matthew, you still there? I think it's Neil Morpheus.
What's Neil Morpheus? Can you spell that?
Well, it's from the movie The Matrix. Hey, Matthew. He must have stepped out. Oh boy. I don't have it because I got the link directly from him. You still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, most of this stuff had to do. Do you have the PSQ already?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I have what you have. I have one I got offline from, I think, the Frog Forum, and a couple of other sources had that questionnaire on there.
Hey, Matthew? Where he went? I apologize. I did not write down the email because I already had the link.
Is there a website also for Neomorphous or what?
No, it's just this site.
Okay. And when do you usually have your
The calls are every Wednesday at
Wednesdays at 5?
Yeah, Wednesdays at 5. So if you just come on next week, he must have hopped off the call.
All right, thank you, then. I appreciate you attempting to help me.
All right, bye now. Hey, Tina?
Sorry about that. I got kicked off. I just got back on.
Oh, can you give her the email address again?
The Neil Morpheus address?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, it's N as in November, M as in Mike, R as in Romeo, P as in Papa, H as in Hotel, S as in Sierra, @gmail.com.
Hey,
okay.
Gentlemen.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, gentlemen. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Wes. Just out of curiosity, I just listened to that young lady speak. She's not an agent by any chance, is she? I just have to ask.
No.
You sure? Not an agent at all?
No, I've been a school teacher, but not an agent. I've just taught school.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Oh, absolutely. I understand your concerns.
She's a young lady at heart. That's good. We need a lot more of her out there. So Wes, I was gonna tell Tina. She must have hopped off, but
actually, I'm back on the phone. Wes had my phone.
Just Wes has got my
number.
Wes has got my number. So just any time between whenever, call me.
Between whenever, that's vague.
Yeah, I'm saying whenever you come up for air, call me and I'll connect you with Karen. I'll get you her phone number. But you really should connect because she's a dear friend of mine. She's been doing this a long time, and I think you guys would. She actually had Mike, her and her husband had Mike entertained them at the house, and so there's a lot of cohesiveness amongst this group.
Absolutely.
Small world, even though we're spread all over the country,
Yeah, we have an amazing group. We had a few of us on the call, on a small group call today, going over some stuff, and I love our team. I can get. Why don't I get your Skype info from Wes, because I know you're probably like me. I don't want to give mine out over the call.
Right. Yeah. He's got it.
I'll hear from Wes, and I'll hook up with you. David.
If you guys don't want to give out your other phone number, just do a *67. I answer unavailable. So.
Oh no, I don't have a problem with that. But I'll give you my Skype info, and I'll connect with you.
Yeah, I got Wes's already, so he's got mine.
Yeah,
so,
you can just I know he's listening.
I'm just not on there